What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. 5 talking points of round 3 of the Guinness Six Nations. Obviously this round was a shorter one as France and Scotland got postponed due to France players contracting COVID-19. 16 members of the whole French Union squad contracted the virus, therefore making this game being postponed. There's a lot of talk going on in the media, and this is one of them. Coach and France are in the hot seat as the French government and sporting union have told Bernard Laporte, the vice president of the French Rugby Union, to bring an exact report as to why these players contracted the virus. If they were out of their bubble, were they tested, and if not, why? There's a threat that they could even pull out France from the 2021 Guinness Six Nations due to this story. Players were out of their bubble because some were going out to get bubbles. There's questions, were they retested? Coach Fabian also went out to apparently witness a sports game of one of his children just before the Italian game, therefore contracting COVID-19, which obviously passed it on to other players from the bubble being broken. So that's obviously a massive talking point because there were so many things going on. Scotland were getting criticised because they were going to play a weakened French squad, and everyone said it's unfair. But no one was realising that the French players went out of their bubble, they broke protocol. So therefore now Scotland have to suffer, because if the game is given or rescheduled in the next 2 weeks when the provincial games are being played, Scotland could be without their star players like Finn Russell and Stuart Hogg. That's something that's also kind of unfair, and they are adamant that that's not going to be the case. So what's going to happen? How are we going to do it? Big talking point there. Next one, obviously bad weekend for the officials. Obviously the French rugby referees were under it after the calls that went the way towards Wales. Not going to go into too much detail, but we know exactly what happened. The French referee Pascal has admitted to his fault, and you know what? What's going to happen? Do we forget about it? Do we talk about it? Do we debate about it? Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's fair? Should we bring in captain's referral? It's a talk, but things need to happen and things need to improve, because these type of tournaments can cost games and can cost cups, and this is something we don't really want. Obviously starting in Rome with the other French referees, Romain Poit and Matteo, a refusal to double check what was a clear score from the Irish second row Ian Henderson, instead opting to rule it a knock-on. That caused a little bit of chaos as well over the weekend. So the French refereeing was in big trouble. Obviously another talking point is England's discipline, which wasn't pretty good. We could talk about the refereeing, but the discipline was not up to standard. If England want any opportunity at getting better, showing improvement, Eddie Jones and Owen Farrell need to work on their team's discipline, because penalties cost teams games. And we saw at the end of the game when Wales were kicking over the penalty kicks, it just increased the lead, putting England under more pressure, and then obviously that last minute try which just pretty much sealed the deal. Those are the kind of things that can cost a team a World Cup, a championship, or just a normal game. They need to work on their discipline. We know England have come a long way, but we also know England have been in a tough situation right now. Coach Eddie Jones's job has been questioned. Owen Farrell's leadership has been questioned. Mario Toje, who was almost favourite to be the Lions captain, well, that kind of has been almost thrown out the window, because now everyone's saying his discipline was absolutely appalling over this past weekend and giving away too many penalties. How can he be the leader going forward? It's understandable, and it's a talking point. England need to work on their discipline, and they need to up their game. We know they are quality. We know they're a phenomenal team, and they need to up their standard. Next talking point, Ireland obviously gaining confidence after getting their first win of the tournament. But again, it's against Italy. How much improvement was Ireland? We saw them play great rugby. We saw them dominate. But are they indeed back? Is Andy Farrell safe? Or is he still the question mark that everyone's been asking about? Ireland dropped this week to their lowest world ranking, I think, ever. They're now sitting 7th in the world after just in 2018 Ireland were dominating World Rugby. There were talks of them potentially finally breaking that curse of getting past that quarter-final stage, but that wasn't the case. Then Andy Farrell entered the mix, and everyone thought, let's give him a chance. But if we compare the coach, Andy Farrell, and the French coach, Fabien, they started at the similar time. Therefore, making you think with France really starting off very badly. Now, Coach Fabien and this young team are gelling together. Whereas Ireland have a phenomenal team. Yes, they've got a lot of injuries, don't get me wrong, but they're not really producing the quality of rugby than what we see from Leinster and Munster, Ulster and Connacht. Why are we seeing great rugby from those teams dominating, but when we get to the actual national Irish squad, they just don't seem to be mixing and getting to that rhythm? Do we need a shake-up? Do we need a new coaching staff? Or is it indeed the injuries that are holding Ireland back? I've seen players play for Ireland under Andy Farrell, and still they're not producing the results of what we've seen in the past. So for me personally, yes, I'm an outsider, so what do I know? But still, I'm still questioning whether Andy Farrell is the right man for the job, and whether Ireland indeed need a shake-up in the game. And that brings me to the final point of this video: Italy's role in the Six Nations. They continue to lose. They haven't won a game since 2015. They haven't really shown, they've shown improvement here and there. First half performances has been impressive, especially when they played against England, but they can't hold it out. Coach Franco Smith has stated that it will take Italy 6 to 8 years in order for them to be competitive in this current tournament. Is it fair to wait 6 to 8 years for a team to finally get form when we have been waiting 6 years for them to actually win a game? Now, I know I'm being harsh, and trust me, I love the Italians, but we need to be thinking logically as to how can we improve European rugby for the tier 2 nations. When you got a team sitting 15th in the world currently playing in a tier 1 tournament, whereas Georgia are quite a few spaces ahead, why haven't we finally given Georgia a chance? Or should we simply take Italy out and move them to the 5 nations? Obviously, there are complications with Italy. There are big sponsors. There's all these things that we need to think about, the logistics behind the scenes that we often forget. But how are we going to better? What can we do differently? To me personally, 6 to 8 years is too long. But that is just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. That's going to do it for today's video. Let me know your talking points and what you think should happen. We got lots to talk about. It was a great, interesting round, but there's a lot to improve. And hopefully round 4 is less drama and more phenomenal rugby. That's going to do it for today's video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.